To make this penguin, you're going to need a selected yarn in 3 different colors: orange or yellow for the beak, a color for the center, and then your main color. I would suggest that you make 3 small bobbins like this, or you can carry your yarn throughout your entire project, or if you want you can just cut it off and move on to the next color. But the more you cut it off, the more colors to weave in, or more strands to weave in there would be. So I've divided my lilac yarn into 2 different small balls, and then I'm using off-white as my middle color. You're going to start off with off-white, make a slip knot, and I forgot to mention that the hook size is not important for this project. I'm using a 3mm, but please keep in mind that the bigger hook you use, the bigger your project is going to be. Secondly, you would need some stuffing, some safety eyes, a pair of scissors, and a yarn needle. To start off, we are going to chain up 8. So you're going to make a chain of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Into the second chain from the hook, that is this one. This is my second chain from the hook. I'm going to make a single crochet. And then I'm going to make a single crochet in each stitch till the end of the row. So I'm going to have a total of 7 single crochets at the end of this row. When you reach the end of your row, you're going to chain up 1. This chain 1 does not count as a stitch. Now what you're going to do is that you're going to make an increase into the first stitch. That means that you're going to put in 2 single crochets into the first stitch. Then you're going to make another increase into the second stitch. Then you're going to make 3 single crochets in each of the 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. We made 3 single crochets in 3 stitches. That means that 1 single crochet in each stitch. And then we have 2 stitches left. We are going to make an increase in both of these stitches. And at the end of this row, we are going to have a total of 11 stitches. Row number 3, chain up 1, turn your work. Again, you're going to make an increase into the first stitch, an increase into the second stitch. Then we're going to put 1 single crochet in each of the next 7 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now we have 2 stitches left, and we are going to make an increase in each of the 2 stitches. And at the end of row number 3, I have a total of 15 stitches. Row number 4, chain up 1. You're going to make an increase in the first stitch only. Then you're going to make 1 single crochet in each of the next 13 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then we are going to make an increase in the last stitch. So at the end of this row, I have a total of 17 stitches. Row number 5 is going to be the same thing. You're going to make an increase in the first stitch. And then you're going to make a single crochet in each of the next 15 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and into the last one I'm going to make an increase again. But I'm not going to finish my last stitch because I'm going to add my color in the last stitch and finish the stitch with my colored yarn. Now I'm going to make a slight knot at the back to secure my colored yarn. Do not cut off the white yarn. Just leave it at the back of your work. Chain up 1. Make 1 single crochet with the colored yarn in the first stitch. We only need 1 colored stitch on one side for now. So I'm going to drop this yarn at the back and I'm going to finish my stitch with my white yarn like this. I'm going to give the colored yarn a slight tug so that it doesn't get too loose. And with white, I am going to make 17 single crochets. So 1, make 17 single crochets with white. When you reach the 17th single crochet, please do not finish it. We are going to finish it together as we need to add a third bobbin as well for the last stitch. So finish up your 17 single crochets and I'll meet you at the end of my 17th single crochet. Okay, so I've reached my 17th stitch and I have not finished it. I'm going to add my third bobbin here and I'm going to finish the stitch the same way I finished the last stitch of the last row with my colored yarn, and I'm going to knot it at the back. Now since we have to start the next row with our colored yarn, we are going to chain up 1, we're going to make the last single crochet with the colored yarn. I almost skipped that. Then I'm going to chain up 1, turn my work and make an increase in the first stitch. The increase is going to be with my colored yarn. So I'm going to make 2 single crochets into the first stitch, but I am not going to finish the second one. I'm going to drop my colored yarn at the back and I'm going to bring up my white yarn and finish this stitch with the white yarn. Give your colored yarn a slight tug. Now you see you have this white strand over here, right on top of your stitch. So what you're going to do is that when you make the stitch, the next stitch, wait, let me fix my light so that you can see what I'm doing. Is this better? Yes, that's much better. Okay, so what we are going to do is that we are going to catch this white strand with it too. So you're going to take your hook, go under this white strand and go into the next stitch and pull up a loop and finish your stitch. We are going to make 17 white single crochets. So I've done my first one. I have 16 more to go. So make your 17 stitches with your white yarn, and I'll meet you at the end of the 17th one again. Okay, so I've finished my 17 stitches with white, but I left 2 loops on my hook on the 17th one, and I dropped my white yarn at the back. I'll be changing it with my lilac yarn, and I'm going to finish my stitch with my lilac yarn. And once again we are going to do the same thing. Take your hook under the strand over here and then insert your hook into the stitch. Bring up a loop and finish your stitch. And we are going to make an increase into the last stitch as well, the way we did in the first one. So now we have a total of 21 stitches at the end of row number 7. So this is what it looks like so far. Now for the next few rows, there are going to be no increases. You're going to chain up 1, and with your colored yarn, you are going to make 3 stitches. 1 single crochet into the first stitch, 1 single crochet into the second stitch, and 1 single crochet into the third one. Do not finish it. Drop your yarn at the back, bring up your white yarn, finish your stitch with your white yarn. The same thing you're going to do. Take your hook under the loop and then insert it into the stitch, bring up a loop, and with white yarn we are going to make 15 single crochets. So make your 15 single crochets, and I'll meet you at the end of the 15th single crochet again. Okay, so I've reached my 15th single crochet and I've brought up 2 loops. I'll be dropping my white yarn again, and I'm going to finish this stitch with my colored yarn. Now we have a very prominent strand of yarn going from top of our stitch to a hook. You're going to take your hook under the strand, put it inside the stitch, pull up a loop, and make 1 single crochet into the last 3 stitches with the colored yarn. Chain up 1, turn your work. Again, at the end of round number 8, I have a total of 21 single crochets. For row number 9, I'm going to make 4 single crochets with my colored yarn. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Finish your stitch with your white yarn. And with the white yarn, we are going to make 13 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I've reached my 13th stitch. I'm going to finish it with my colored yarn. And with the colored yarn, I'm going to make 1 single crochet into the last 4 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Chain up 1, with my lilac yarn I'm going to make 5 single crochets for round number 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 and 5. I'm going to chain to my white yarn, and with the white yarn I'm going to make 11 single crochets. So make your 11 single crochets and I'll meet you at the end of the 11th one. Okay, so I've reached the end of my 11th single crochet and I'm going to finish it with my colored yarn. And this row will be finished with 5 single crochets, 5 colored single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. We still have a total of 21 single crochets. Please make sure that you keep a count of your single crochets, otherwise you will not be able to end it properly. Okay, so for row number 11, you're going to chain up 1 and make 6 single crochets with your colored yarn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. Drop your colored yarn at the back. Move on with your white yarn. And with the white yarn, we are going to make 9 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I knew I had done this. Sorry. Okay. Make your white 9 single crochets with your white yarn and I'll meet you at the end of the 9th one. Okay, I'm going to finish the 9th one with my colored yarn, and for the last 6 stitches we are going to finish it with our colored yarn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, all my strands have become a tangled mess, so you can take a 5-minute break here, untangle them, and then continue. But this one is going to be my last row with white in it, so I am just going to pull it through and continue. Chain up 1, turn. With your colored yarn you're going to make 8 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Drop your colored yarn, move on to the white one and finish your stitch. Now I am done with this strand over here. So what I'm going to do is that I am going to cut it off so that it doesn't come in my way anymore. hold it at the back of your white work. Okay, so we made 8 single crochets. We are going to make 5 single crochets with white. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we are done with white over here. Cut the white one off. That is it. And you're going to finish this row with 8 colored single crochets. So pull on your white yarn at the back and try to cover this strand of lilac that is on top of your stitches as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, for the next 2 rows, that is row 13 and row 14, this is what your work looks like for now. For row 13 and row 14, you're going to make 1 single crochet in each stitch, and you're going to have a total of 21 single crochets at the end of row number 14. So finish row number 13 and row number 14, and I'll meet you with row number 15, where we are going to start off with our decreases once again. Okay, so for row number 15, you're going to chain up 1, and you're going to start the row with a decrease. So you're going to bring up a loop from the first stitch, insert your hook into the second stitch, bring up a loop, and then you have 3 loops on the hook. Finish the stitch by bringing your hook through all 3 loops. For the next 17 stitches, you're going to put 1 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I'm done with 17 single crochets, and I'm going to finish this row with a decrease. And at the end of this row, I have a total of 19 single crochets. Chain up 1, turn your work. For row number 16, you're going to make 1 single crochet in each of the 19 single crochets of the previous row. So finish row number 16, and I will be back for row number 17. I'm done with row number 16. I'm going to chain up 1 for row number 17. We're going to start this row with a decrease, and then we're going to make 15 single crochets in each of the next 15 stitches until you have 2 stitches left, and into the last 2 stitches you're going to make another decrease. So I'm almost there. I have 2 stitches left. In this row with a decrease, chain up 1, turn your work, start row number 18 with a decrease, and then you're going to make 1 single crochet into the next 13 stitches. So make a single crochet into the next 13 stitches, and we are also going to end this row with a decrease. That means that you're going to make 1 single crochet into the last 2 stitches. So I'm here, there you go. And at the end of this row, I have a total of 15 single crochets. You're going to chain up 1, turn, Row number 19, we are going to start with 2 sets of decreases. 1 and 2. Then you're going to make 1 single crochet in the next 7 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Please don't mind the dogs. I have 3 dogs in the house and sometimes it can be chaotic. Now we are left with 4 stitches. We are going to end with 2 decreases as well. Now I have a total of 11 single crochets. Chain up 1, turn your work. We are going to start off this row with 2 sets of decreases again. So 1 and 2. And you're going to make 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. And this row we'll end with a set of 2 decreases as well. So we have a total of 7 single crochets at the end of this row. Chain up 1, turn your work. You're going to make a decrease in the first 2 stitches and make 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3, and then end this row with a decrease as well. Okay, I am not going to cut this off right now. I'm going to pull up a loop. This is my right side and this is my wrong side. You can choose your right and wrong sides yourself. I will be inserting my safety eyes where I want them to be. Okay, after you've put in your safety eyes, what you're going to do is that you're going to make the back for this thing. The back is worked in the same pattern that we just did the front end, except that the back is worked with one solid color. So pause the video, finish the back of your bird, and then come meet me back to make the beak and the claws. Okay, so after an endless struggle, I have finally been able to put my safety eyes properly. Now we are going to move on to the yellow yarn, and we need a very, very tiny bit for it. For the beak, you're going to chain up 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Into the second stitch from your hook, you're going to make a single crochet and 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches as well. So we have a total of 4 stitches at the end of this row. You're going to chain up 1 and you're going to make 2 sets of decreases. So 1 and 2. For the third row, chain up 1. You have 2 stitches. Finish it with a decrease. Fasten off, leaving a tail for the sewing. Your beak is done. Now you're going to stitch your beak on wherever you want it to be. For the claws, you're going to make 2 claws. As I said, that it's very chaotic in my house. chain up 2, put 1 single crochet into the second stitch from your hook, chain up 1, turn your work, put 3 single crochets into the same stitch, chain up 1, put 1 double crochet into the first stitch, slip stitch into the next stitch, 1 double crochet into the last stitch, and you're going to put a slip stitch into the same stitch as well. Fasten off, leaving a tail for sewing. Make the other claw, sew them on, and then you're going to join both the sides with a single crochet. Finish up, stuffing it lightly. This is what your work is going to look like at the end. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.